Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Mondays, is my good friend, Michele Berra. Michele, what's up?
I can't wait for, is it tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, Thunder
Wednesday
Mavs
morning for me.
in OKC. Yeah, late tip, 8:30 tip locally. Another late night playoff game. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be so much fun. A lot of people already getting their opinions out there. I haven't even made my pick yet. I'll be making my pick on today's show at the very end of the show. So stick around for
Thunder
that.
in 3.
Thunder in 3. The Mavs just go home with their tails between their legs. It's very exciting that, one, the Thunder made it to the second round for the first time since 2016, which is kind of crazy to think about. It's crazy to think about all the players that have been here since, basically since they've made it to the second round.
But Charlie Brown,
Poku, Moses Brown, Al Horford played on this team,
Yeah.
It is I hope that we can just stop for even just a second, just like appreciate, like, this is a big deal, This is a big deal to make it to the second round. And especially in this Western Conference, the Los Angeles Clippers, who were built to win a title, did not make it to the second round. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker did not make it to the second round. So it's important to just stop, take stock a little bit in this and that. Boy, what a great thing for this organization, for the players, for the fans, for everybody to just make it to round 2. So it's very cool. The Thunder were gifted, and it's sad to say that it's a gift when someone gets hurt, but I think I want to start with Maxi Kleber, who was going to be an outrageously important player in this series. Not only is he a good floor spacer as a 3-point shooter, he's been great in the playoffs, but he's one of their better defenders on the team and allows them to play a different style. And now it's not like it's a bad, not necessarily like the worst thing, but they are just not versatile as a team anymore. They're going to play basically these drop bigs. Maybe they'll play PJ Washington at center, which is not as scary.
I don't think they will.
They just don't have as many options without him, and it kind of that, and it helps the Thunder, who are going to play a style that would probably more fit a Maxi Kleber, led lineup, not led lineup, but a Maxi Kleber lineup at center would definitely be a lineup that we would have seen a lot against Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I mean, Kleber had a good series against the Clippers. I wonder if that was just something that happened compared to something that was really impactful, was going to be very impactful against OKC. But his ability to be a decent shooter, a shooter that you have, maybe not to stay attached, but you have to remind yourself that is not a guy to leave completely open. I mean, they will probably do it against Derrick Jones Jr. That will probably be the guy that you leave open, similar to Herb Johnson. If he hits the first few threes, then maybe you close out a little bit more, but not too much. Kleber is a different beast. Not a guy, again, that you want to glue your guy on. He's not like a super duper shooter, but I like the idea that he can be a decent enough rim protector. This is a guy that you can comfortably slide on Giddey and dare Giddey to beat him, because I think that with Gafford probably doesn't work as well. With Lively, I mean, you don't really want to. You may want to do it with Lively, but if Giddey starts to hit shots, then it's a terrible matchup. With Kleber, you can kind of say, okay, we play both Lively and Kleber, and we have an awesome rim protection, which is exactly what you need against OKC. And Kleber is fast enough, quick enough to be a little bit more on the perimeter to stay attached with Giddey. So, or even to put on Chet if you want. Like, you put him on Chet Holmgren and you then have Lively patrolling the paint. This is something that you can do compared to like not having him and needing to guard the pick and roll in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that it changes a lot. For the Thunder, I think just like the matchups are going to be so intriguing
Hmm.
for this series. I think that it's unlikely that they will match up traditionally and just have the big guarding Chet. Like I just don't think you can do that, and so I think that you have to do some cross matching, which Dallas did. They played zone, they had some cross matching. They're going to not just do one thing. They're going to throw lots of different looks at the
Hmm.
Thunder. I think that's one way that you beat the Thunder is that you don't give them one look. You give them multiple looks, and you kind of find moment by moment what's working, because the Thunder will figure stuff out as things go along. Like they'll figure out a zone. They've had to deal with that a lot this year. They've had to figure out the cross matching, and to me, you'll see a lot of different looks. Obviously, I think Derek Jones is going to be the primary defender for Shea,
Hmm.
and he's a pretty good at that. I don't know that he's as good as what they saw in the first round, which will be interesting. He's a guy who is a little bit more mistake prone than guys like
Hmm.
Herb.
He's not her, but he compares to the other guys, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I think that he probably does, and that is going to be fascinating to me. Is like, can Shea get loose in this series and score a bunch? Because I kind of think they need him to.
Yeah. They need him to be the best player on the court to be comfortably ahead of the Mavs.
Mhm.
Because in any single game, like both Kyrie and Doncic can really go off and be the focal point of the offense. OKC needs to have Shea at the best version of himself kind of level. I do think that past Derrick Jones Jr., it's very tough. I mean, I kind of remember Shea cooking PJ Washington quite a bit.
Yeah, he's just
I
too
don't think,
slow. He's just going to be too
yeah.
slow.
They will probably try to do whatever they can to have in spots other guys like Josh Green, for example, maybe Dante Exum. But I don't have the size to really bother Shea. I mean, they will try, but it's not an ideal thing. If Derrick Jones is picking up a few fouls early, which is something that I think OKC should try to do, then it's not easy to guard Shea. They
Mm,
would do it by they would need to have a big man patrolling the paint at all times. And
mhm.
if they do that, then OKC has to find some counter. If Giddy has it going, great. If not, this is a series where I can see if Giddy struggles, that Isaiah Joe will have a lot of minutes, a lot of minutes.
Yeah, this is interesting. When you look at splits on Basketball Reference, it shows you the usage rate for players. Shea had his lowest usage rate with Dallas of any team,
Mm.
26% usage rate.
Which is not like super duper low, but it's not in par with what he does.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the 30s
Yeah.
with almost everybody else. Again, it's funny enough, against Washington, he has a 29.8% usage rate. Against Toronto, he has
Yeah.
his against Toronto, he actually has a little bit lower. It's 26. So it's not the lowest, but it's
Yeah.
26.2. It's just about the same. But like everybody else, it's in the 30s. Like against Sacramento, 37% usage rate. Against Portland, 40% usage rate. Um, Against Miami, 35% usage rate. Against Detroit, 40% usage rate. But 26% usage rate, I think, is interesting. And I think that it is. I need to check this because I think part of it could be that this could be a J-Dub series, because if you put your best defender on Shea, and then if you put the best player on Shea, who defends J-Dub? Like
I
who
think
is
it's
the
I
primary
think it's
defender?
BJ. I
Yeah,
think
it's
it's
PJ
BJ.
Washington. And honestly, like that's just not. I don't think that's going to cut it. So J-Dub had a 25% usage rate. It's about equal
Yeah.
to Shea against Dallas. Now he's had higher usage rates against other teams. Against Houston is higher. Against New York is higher. And some of this happened to be like when maybe Shea was out, that he had to handle the ball
Hmm.
a little bit more. But I think you could see kind of equal equal parts from both Shea and J-Dub kind of in attack mode in this series, which I think would be a really good thing for the Thunder.
I don't know. I mean, I would love for Shea to be just more in control of the game, more effective.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that Shea's passing is something very important in this series because if they double him, he has to be extremely sharp. But I also want him to just murder any front line that gives him an inch of space. And this, I mean, again, if you put Lively below the basket and that's it, you drop him, then it's a little bit harder. But I do think that Shea needs to be better and not 27% usage better. Another guy who really needs to be better than against the Pels is Chet Holmgren. He has to take a lot of threes and he has to make a lot of threes, which I think this is what he did during the regular season. And not that it matters because the games against Dallas were very weird.
So weird.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can chalk up Shea's inefficiency by the fact that he played basically half a game when they were blown out. So that's very low usage, probably, if you check that singular game. But Chet is very important. I mean, probably more than Giddey, because if you don't have Giddey, you have other options. If Chet is not making Dallas pay for letting him shooting the basketball, then it's hard. Then it's pretty hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chet needs to have 8 to 10 3-point attempts again.
Yeah.
And he needs to shoot it well. He shot 40% against Dallas in the regular season from 3, 58% from the field, but he wasn't getting a ton of attempts.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's got to get. I mean, he only guess how many threes he took in 4 games against
18.
Dallas? 10 total.
Oh, 10?
10.
That's not good at all.
I know. I think his attempt numbers is a really good bellwether for how good the Thunder's offense is and how much they're cooking. Because I think that's somebody that they have to get going. He's got to be quick trigger. He's got to just catch and shoot, follow through. He is so important to this series. Chet is so outrageously important. I mean, obviously, like Shea, Dub, and Chet being important to this series is very obvious. But those 3 need to get cooking because Kyrie is going to be really good in this series. Kyrie has been the best player on the Mavs in the playoffs. Luka's, by his standards, has not been very good.
Yeah.
And he even said it after the game that his knee's not going to get better. Like, it's not something that's going to get better with rest right now. Like, he doesn't have enough time to rest it. It will get better over the summer. It'll get better when he stops playing basketball. And, he hadn't had to deal with a defender like Lou Dort. Terrence Mann's a really good defender, but he's not anywhere close to the defender that Lou Dort is. And their plan was to switch everything. And it was like a very simple switch. And they basically got to put whatever defender they wanted on Luka. We've talked about this a ton, but they're not good. Lou Dort's not going to allow that.
Yeah.
This round. And so I just think that that's going to be like one of the things that I'm watching for is like, how can Lou slow down Luka? Can he get him where he's scoring like 22 points on 22 shots,
Yeah, that is a tall task. I was discussing it with John on After Dark, and we were saying the main important thing for Dort is to play more than 30 every single game. He has to stay on the court in this series.
Yeah,
because even if he's not as I would say not as into Luka's jersey like he was against Ingram, because I think that is a little bit too risky because Luka is so much better at drawing fouls compared to BI. But he needs to play sustainable, good defense. He has to be one-on-one, and you have to live with the results. I don't think that doubling Luka is a good choice, especially early in the clock. OKC needs to be extremely sharp at that, and Lou Dort needs to hold basically for as many seconds as he can, while the other decide when and if to double. This is another very important thing. I think that also it's not about just the single parts. It's about, hey, can OKC attack the game the way Minnesota attacked Game 1 against Denver? Can they be the more hungry, the more impactful, forceful, sharp team? Because that is what they need for like 7 games. They can't be the team that tries to win the game. They have to be hungry from the beginning. And I do think that they have an advantage there because I mean I watched not the entire series against the Clippers, but the Clippers missed a ton of good shots. Like Russell Westbrook was abysmal on well created layups. I mean, he was what 3 of 30 at the
Yeah,
rim,
it was not good. It was
and
not a good series for Russ.
yeah, and he was left open in the corner. I mean,
Hmm.
that is something that Dallas may try to do against Gideon Dort,
Yeah,
but Gideon Dort are not Russell Westbrook and Terrence Mann. Those are better players, better
yeah,
scorers, I think. So, I
yeah.
mean,
That's going to be an important thing. Is like the Thunder haven't really been made to pay for their like biggest offensive weaknesses yet,
mhm.
and that is getting in favor of an Isaiah Joe. And Isaiah Joe himself has to shoot better. You know, he didn't shoot well in round
But he
one.
was very tightly guarded.
He
If
was.
if if you do that, like if you have a guy glued to Isaiah Joe, then it's already a win for OKC, I think.
It is, but he's also got to make shots.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's also got to hit shots. I think Giddy. I mean, Giddy's confidence is obviously in a really good place right now,
Mhm.
and I think this is a series where if you're Josh Giddy, boy, you can make yourself a lot of money in this series.
Oh yeah.
They are going to, and they've done this where they've kind of put him on an island, and they are just like, yeah, prove it. Like we don't believe that you can actually beat us. And honestly, it's worked for the most part. He only averaged 20 minutes per game against Dallas in the regular season.
Mhm.
I think, let's see. I think that's the lowest of any against any team in the league.
Even against the Clippers?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Clippers is lower. It's funny because it's those two teams.
Yeah.
Whereas like, it's the Clippers or Dallas. Clippers is actually 18 minutes per game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
Dallas,
remember him being yanked.
yeah, and Dallas
Um
is 20 minutes per game. But also, it was not where I mean, Josh was not in a great place,
yeah,
during those
exactly.
matchups. So it's almost like a different version of him. And so if he can, one, like his floater is just on point right now. And like
Yeah.
his touch is on point right now. And if he can keep that up, you can continue to play him because he really does help the Thunder get into the style of play they want to play. Like he is somebody who really helps them get there. Is it more helpful sometimes to have Isaiah Joe out there or Casey Wallace or those guys? Sure. But those guys don't exactly always put the Thunder in the position they want to be. And he's big. And I think
Yeah.
that's like another point is like it's not like they've not really struggled against Dallas in particular on the boards. They've done pretty well against Dallas on the boards, but they need guys like J-Dub and Giddy to step up. And if you can
Yeah.
play Giddy 25 minutes or more per game, I think that's also like a sign that things are going well. If he is at 18 to 20 minutes per game, I think that is kind of a red flag of like, uh-oh, like they're really trying it, but it's not quite working. And
Or
it may have to decrease as the series goes on. Or
it's the Gordon Hayward flag. Da
wow.
da da.
I listen, I know many people have given up on Gordon Hayward. I get it. I totally
Us too. Admit it.
I totally get it. I think that there still could be a Gordo game.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there. I think there could be a Gordo game.
Game 8 of the second round.
Wow. That's mean.
No, I mean, I really believe that if there is a series where Gordon Hayward can be played, is this one. Because he can guard PJ Washington. He can guard Derrick Jones
Yeah,
Jr. He
yeah,
can do that. He
yeah.
can also maybe switch on Luca and not being awful immediately. He will be awful after 2, 3 dribbles. But if he switches and he stays there, like maybe gets a rebound or two, he'll have space on offense. He'll have a lot of space because Dallas will guard at the extreme. Like they will really give him space. They will not care. I don't think that Gordo can play against either the Nuggets or the T Wolves because they are too dynamic with the ball.
Yeah.
And I don't see a player. Well, maybe you can put him on McDaniels. Maybe you can try to put him on KCP. But this is not exactly what you want.
Mm-hmm.
In this series. I do feel that if Hayward finds a little bit of freedom, then he may
Listen,
play.
he
He just
just
has to try.
no, he just needs to shoot the ball. Just shoot the ball, my friend. You are a good shooter. I've been saying it, and I'm sure that I've looked like a big old dum-dum. But he is a pure shooter. Like he has one of like the best shooting motions on the team. And I've sat and watched him in practice or before games just hit 3 after 3 after 3 after 3. I mean, it's like 8, 9, 10, 11, 15, 16 in a row.
I know.
And then he gets out on
Just
the
has to
court,
take
and
them.
I'm like, what is happening? Like he is avoiding shooting the basketball like it's the plague. It's like, dude, just sit and wait in the corner, and when the ball hits your hands, just shoot it. Just shoot it.
It is true that we don't have that. Yeah, well, it's really better if you take a shot compared to this guy. We don't really have that
Yeah.
because like everybody is kind of at least at the same level of him, if not better. So I mean, you don't have like an Andrew Robertson who say, "Can you please shot?" Otherwise, the ball goes there.
Yeah.
I mean, there is nothing like that.
No.
But in the same way, I do feel that he's not really looking to score, which is the
Oh,
first
I mean,
step on not being anywhere near your best effective self.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but if there is a series to plant your Gordo flag, this is the series. This is the last moment where Gordo can really try to put his stamp / flag / whatever on this postseason.
Gordo's last stand.
Yeah.
Here against Dallas. If he's going to play like he did in round 1, just don't play him. Like just like play Kenrich. Just
play Wiggs.
Play Wiggs more. Like
play Dub more.
But if he'll shoot the ball, then great, play him.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many shots did he take in round 1?
1.
He took 1 shot.
Yeah, I know. I vividly remember that. He barely grazed the front rim.
He's in 31 minutes. He took 1 shot. Lindy Waters took the same amount of shots in 5 minutes.
Yeah, but come on, Lindy plays in blowout situations.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
He wasn't bad per se. I mean, he was not horrible.
No, he had some moments defensively, and he has size, and that's why he's like still playing. That's why they're still giving him a chance. But
you prefer that of the Russ experience?
Oh, I mean, Russ wouldn't play.
Wow.
He wouldn't play on this team.
No,
it's just true. So. It's just true.
I agree. He's not good defensively, nor he can do anything that relates with the style of basketball that they are playing.
Yeah. Somebody that I do think will have a big impact on this series is Cason Wallace, who I think is going to get a lot of time on Kyrie. I think that he'll be given a shot on Luka. Although Luka, just like going back and watching some of Luka's stuff, he is so big.
Yeah, he's big and strong.
He is so big, and I just don't know that Cason is like really well equipped to guard him just because of his size, and that's why I think it might be more of a Kenrich series because of that. But I do think that you can put Cason in a lot of different spots. Like if Tim Hardaway is going to play, you can put him on Tim Hardaway. If you need to have him on Kyrie for sure, because I think probably Dub gets that assignment to start the game, and
Yep.
like you need to allow him to have some rest time because and Kaysen is kind of like the perfect guy to guard him. I also think that Wiggs is wouldn't be a bad defender on him. He provides a little bit more length.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the guys. They've got the guys to defend on the perimeter, which I think is like one of the reasons why you can feel confident about the Thunder heading into this series, and also just their health. You know, if the Thunder were missing a top 8 rotation player like Dallas is, I think that you would feel like a little less confident about them. I think I'm trying to think of like who's like the Thunder equivalent to Maxi Kleba.
It's Jay Will probably.
Yeah, I just think Kleba's more important than Jay Will is.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Because there could be. I mean, how much does Jay Will play in this series? Do you think he played 44 total minutes against the Pelicans, which I thought was a team he's a little bit more well equipped to play against? The 9th most minutes on the team.
But Valanciunas didn't play as much as we thought, or as much as Alex thought. Yeah.
Mm.
So I mean, I don't think that he's well equipped to guard. Well, maybe I don't know about Gaffer. Gaffer is springy.
Yeah.
With Lively, yeah, sure. He's not a guy who can really guard the lob. Jay Will is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he could play the same, maybe a little bit less, maybe 9-10 compared to 10-12. I just want for Chet to play as much as he can.
That to me is like one of the things about this series. Is like Chet needs to play a whole lot. Like he's got to play a lot in this series. Yeah, Maxi played 19 minutes a game
against the Clippers.
Yeah.
And what about the regular season?
In the regular season, he played about 20 minutes per game, so it's about the same.
Yeah,
he just shot it so much better. He shot 55% from 3.
Yeah, which is why I'm not. I mean, yeah, it happened. It definitely happened. So was Giddey. I mean, 51%. I don't think that will happen again.
He's consistently been better in the playoffs. He's a 40% shooter in the playoffs.
Because nobody's guarding him.
Through his career.
Nobody.
35% in the regular season. No one's guarding him in the regular season either. He's just
a bit more. It's a bit different. In the playoffs, you really go to an extreme level to guard anybody else.
Yeah. He's making, but he makes the other team pay, and has like through the years. Been like one of their most important guys.
I don't know who's the comp for Kleba. I don't know if anybody on the Thunder bench average 20 minutes.
I mean, it's Kaysen.
It's Kaysen Wallace, yeah. But it feels like more important. It feels like more in a Hardaway kind of role.
Maybe. I just think the versatility piece of it is the biggest deal.
Yeah.
Is the biggest
deal.
They
can't go full space. That they can't do now.
Yeah, no, they can't. Yeah, Jason Kidd even talked about breaking out Markieff Morris
in this series. Hope so.
I mean, that would be just a blessing from the Lord above to have Markieff.
Yeah, I don't think that will happen, to be honest with you. I mean, why would you do that? He was cooked 2 seasons ago, and you can't
try 5 seasons ago.
Yeah. 3.5, 4.
Try 6.
I don't think he can stay on the court against Jay. They will really target him. I wonder what is how OKC will hunt matchups. There was a question in the chat that I skipped, and now I don't remember the full extent of it. But I do think that OKC will try to exploit some specific matchups, especially early in the game. I don't think that you can really exploit too much Kyrie from the dribble. I think you can do it on Luka.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Especially, I mean, he's just not the same guy laterally right now.
Yeah.
I mean, without a doubt, I think you can, if you can get the switch on Luka, or if you can get the switch on PJ.
Yeah.
Like, I think those are your best chances against at least the starting lineup. They're going to play Josh Green. Josh Green was like their 8th guy, basically. They didn't play Exum very much at all in
Yeah,
the
he's
last series.
struggling so much with his shooting.
Yeah, he only played about 8 minutes. Let's see, how many threes? He took 6 threes in that series. He's 0 of 6. So,
yeah.
And it's not like anybody off the bench really shot it well outside of Kleba. Kleba came in and hit 10 out of 18 from 3.
Yeah.
Green was
Which
3 of 12.
balances out with what Luka did.
Yeah, Luka took, in 6 games, he took 67 threes and made 16. He was 23.9%.
Yeah. So it's combined 26 on 85.
Yeah, 67 is a lot. 67 is a lot.
He's hoisting a lot.
What's the most amount of threes that was taken by the Thunder in the 4 games?
37.
Lower.
Lower?
Lower.
Like not too much lower though. 34.
Oh, much lower.
By the total team?
No. I'm talking about total for one player. For one player.
Oh, I was thinking like per game. I said like whatever we think.
No. I'm just talking about a total in the 4 games.
I think it's 27.
It's 23.
Okay.
By who?
Lou Dort.
Lou Dort and Chet both took 23 threes.
Yeah.
Lou was 52%. Chet was 30%.
Yeah.
3.
I thought Lou averaged a little bit more than 6, but I had one game where he didn't take as many.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that is just a crazy amount of threes, and a lot of just kind of settling too for Luka.
Yeah.
In that he just could not get to the hoop, and he also just can't. He's also not getting to a step back either, which is tough because you have to put so much force on your legs in order to actually get to that step back. Let's see, how many 2s did he take? So, golly, he just shot the ball a ton. Holy smokes!
Yeah.
67 threes, and he took 86 2s in round 1. He averaged 10 threes per game and 13 2-point attempts per game.
Yeah.
Oh, that was in the regular season. 11 threes per game in the playoffs, 14 2s in the playoffs. That's my fault. Yeah, he's just shooting the ball just a ton, 25 shots. Where like you get a steady diet of him and Kyrie. I mean, they are taking a vast majority of the shots for this. Yeah. It's him and Kyrie, and nobody else was in double digits for attempts. Where like the Thunder are just almost like the opposite,
they're spreading way more.
It's Shea with 20, J-Dub with 17, Chet with 11, Giddey with 9.5, Lou with 7. I mean, they spread it out a lot more than the Mavs do, which is not like it's obvious. Like that's an obvious statement, but it's just, I just think that also, if Luka's not right, spreading out your offense just bodes well for OKC.
Yeah. You need to make him defend in space. You can't allow him to stay still. You just have to find his man, screen, rescreen, screen again. Make him work for the entire length of the defensive possession. And one thing that I see as a reason why OKC did not have as many attempts per single player was that they were really careless with the ball against the Pelicans. The Pelicans are good at that, so they are not bad at forcing turnover. It was not like an accident, but I think they need to be extremely better than what they were before against Dallas, and Shea needs to be better because he was inefficient largely because he lost a lot of silly on-ball turnovers, which you have to clean up because you can't afford that. You can't afford to win in Dallas with 106 points. You need to score more. You need to be able to to stay with Dallas in terms of scoring, because you will have. I heard you discuss it with Jason Gallagher. You will have a Dallas game. You will have like a game where Dallas just is insanely hot, and even in those games, you have to find a way to stay attached, to stay close. You may lose the game, but you need to show them, hey, you this is your time, and you're not winning by a lot. We're here.
Yeah. Yeah, and something that, the Pelicans, they turn the ball over 18 times per game on average
Yeah.
in those games, whereas Dallas against the Clippers they just don't turn the ball over. And I think that is something that is going to be it's going to be very interesting to see where all this lands for OKC here, because in the playoffs, Dallas is averaging, let's see, where are they at? 11 and a half turnovers per game to the 18. Now, some of that, and the 18 is the most per game, by the way, by like a long shot. The second is Cleveland. And some of that is like the Thunder just force turnovers. They're good at forcing turnovers. And so like there's that noise within there. It's not like, and also New Orleans just did not have anybody to handle the ball. They did not have really, like, who was their best passer in that series? I thought
I
JB
have no idea.
was pretty good.
Yeah.
CJ was not very good.
BI had moments.
BI had a couple moments. Larry Nance is a decent passer.
Yeah.
But no, this is a different level. Luka and Kyrie are like elite passers.
Yeah. You have two elite passers, creators, shot creators, and a lot of, hey, let me finish this possession kind of players, which is not the way in which OKC plays basketball. It's a very distinct brand that Dallas plays. It's heliocentric, but with two suns, basically. And it's not easy. They will take turn, yes, but they will also leverage themselves to when they are together on the court. So it's not an easy feat, and this is why you can't really allow them to both be in rhythm and put their teammates in rhythm. So you have to make a choice. If you think that their passing is that good, you basically are left with, hey, we need to stick one-on-one. And we just take away all the easy passes, all the lobs, all the stuff. We are going to take them away. We trust our individual defense. We switch if we really are forced to, and possibly a good switch.
Yeah.
And we just play them one-on-one and see what happens. And then we'll see. Because if you start rotating, if you start doubling Luka, if you start leaving the corner open, I mean, PJ Washington can have a game in which he may miss every free throw that he takes, but he makes 6 shots from 3, and you're going to lose that game. If you stay close, he's not that good of a shooter.
Yeah.
So I really think that discipline and timely helping is probably more important than anything else that happens. You need to defend Dallas very well. And I mean, I was extremely surprised by what the Nuggets did against the Wolves did against the Nuggets. I mean, they trusted Cat to stay on Jokic, and to just like make a decision very late on the clock if you want to help. Very late. You just need to trust your guys. And again, if you can do it with Jokic, you can probably do it with Luka. And if he kills you, okay, just don't allow anyone else to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, the corner three is going to be something that is to watch. I mean, the Mavs take the most corner threes in the league at 11 per game, and the Thunder allow the most in the NBA. And so they're probably going to be taking more corner threes. If you look at playoffs, guess who took the most corner threes per game in round 1?
Team-wise or player-wise?
Team-wise.
It seems like a tricky question. I think it's the Pels.
It's the Pels.
Yeah.
They took 12 per game, which would be the most in the NBA by a decent margin.
Granted, those threes were mainly on subpar shooters. I think the
They
Herb
won.
took
I mean, guess what they shot in the series?
34
22
from the corners.
from the corners.
Wow, that's bad. That's below average. Way
Oh,
below. Even if you think no, I was thinking even if you think about who took them.
yeah. Oh, I know. It's crazy. Dallas took, let's see, they were 5th in corner threes per game and shot 42%, which is the 3rd best percentage.
Yeah. How many did they take though?
9.
9. Yeah, that's a lot of points.
Yeah.
It's not a swing, I think, a swing factor, because the Thunder for the season, I don't think that they allowed a bad percentage overall from the corners. I don't think that was something that they allowed, and it was bad. And it was like a good 32, 30. No, I think it was in the 38s, maybe a little bit better even. It's just something that you leave because you don't, you take away other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if your decision is, hey, I don't possibly care if Derek Jones Jr. takes 8 threes a game from the corners, I will allow him to do that, like they did with Aaron Jones. That I think is a good strategy. If this is your way to protect the paint because you don't want him to backdoor or stuff like that, but you allow open, maybe semi-contested corner three, that's fine. If Derek Jones is the guy who kills you, fine. PJ, maybe a tiny bit more.
Yeah.
Exum, try him out. Josh
Fire
Green,
away, my man.
try him out.
Guess how many corner threes the Mavs took against the Thunder in 4 games?
Oh, one was a disaster. Game 3 was a complete disaster in that regard. So I don't know. In 4 games, 52.
Let me see if I can get the totals, but I have per game 14.8.
Well, that's very close to 52. It's a bit more.
It's a lot. It's not the most. They gave up 15 and a half to the Nets and Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
The Nets took 15 and a half corner threes per game in the regular season. They made 12.9 or 12.9 or 12.9%. It was their field goal percentage. I'm sorry. 12.9.
Yeah. What is the overall field goal allowed for OKC from the corners?
What is their the percentage of shots? Is that what you're asking for?
No. The percentage of the efficiency.
Oh, God, I don't have the totals. But against the Mavs shot 14.83 corner threes, and they made 33.9% of them.
Yeah, which is not good at all.
No, 33 from the corner is bad.
Yeah.
They also took 28, they took 24 above the break threes and made 34%. So they just did not shoot well from 3 against the Thunder in those 4 games, which is kind of
yet they blow them out once.
Yeah, once they did. It's just kind of funny thinking about that too. They played such. I honestly I tried to watch some of those games, and like almost right away in that one game where everybody's healthy, it was just like not a game.
Yeah,
this was so fast. It was just like, oh, yep, this is not.
Nope,
this
is yeah, exactly.
And there's not a whole lot to learn from it, to be honest. And I kind of feel that way about all their games because it's like Luka was out in the last game. Like, there's not a whole lot to learn from that. Yeah, I think that this is very much like a clean slate for both teams, and it's also kind of crazy that like the first round opponents were really not helpful to them, like stylistically or strategically, because like for the Thunder with the Mavs, like defending the Mavs, like there couldn't be a team that's more different in the Pelicans.
Yeah.
And then the other way around too. You know, the Clippers, they ISO a lot. They just don't drive the ball. If you look in the playoffs, The Thunder clearly are the team that is, taking or driving the ball the most.
Yeah.
Uh, they have the most field goals off of drives
Mhm.
in the postseason, whereas the Clippers are second to last.
Yeah, and even if you look like at layups, the Clippers are dead last in layup attempts, which with Russ on the court seems very weird. But if you think about everybody else, Zubat tries mostly hooks, not layups.
Mhm.
Norman Powell will almost never get to the rim. He can take a floater. He can take a mid-range jumper. Paul George is the same.
Yeah.
He goes there very little. So I do think that there is part of the failure of the Clippers that is related to that. I mean, if you can't keep up percentage wise and you are not really putting any pressure
Mm.
on the rim, then it's again, it's not the way to beat Dallas. I do think that there are issues in terms of point of attack defense with Dallas. OKC needs to exploit that. Lively and Gafford are like good rim protectors. Yes, OKC has to do better. They are not Rudy Gobert and I don't know Chet Holmgren.
Yeah, they're not. The Thunder need to attack this defense. It has been good post All-Star break, but I don't think they're as good as like the Pelicans could be when the
Mhm.
Pelicans are on full tilt. They
Yeah,
also had to defend a Clippers team that had the most isolations of any team, and they are like Paul George and James Harden ISOs, where it is
yeah,
dribble, 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 dribble. You know I'm going to shoot it, so you better get close. Here I go. That is like their isolations. The average, they had the most isolations, and it was under a point per possession for the Clippers, and second is the Mavericks, who are at 0.92 points per possession in isolation,
yeah.
uh, which is not
Because
great.
Luca was not that good.
Yeah, it's all about Luca. The Thunder actually averaged the fourth most isolations.
Yeah, they did a lot of semi isolation. I don't like to call them isolations because when you start
I was about to
with
make this
with
point. Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, then make it yourself. I don't want to steal it from you.
No, I was just gonna say like their isolations are quick.
Yeah,
It's a like get into the action. It's off of like a drive where it is so clear that like I'm not getting to the rim and you are leaving the mid range open. Let me just break you down and get to that mid range jumper. And like that
yeah,
is like their isolation. It's
yeah.
not.
Or the ones that start with a maybe an inverted pick and roll,
Mhm.
so you can really get the matchup you want, and then you attack. I don't like to call an isolation. You don't really clear the floor.
I don't like
It's
that
not,
either.
hey,
I agree.
that's me. And
Yeah.
sometimes it is. Sometimes it's, hey, pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll. Then, okay, I find the matchup that I like, do a dribble back, and then attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's technically something that resembles an isolation, but it's way more than that.
Mhm.
I mean, hard in isolation is, hey, you're in front of me. I don't call any screen. Clear the strong side and let me cook. That
Mm.
is a true isolation where you don't start anything. You just try to beat your man. So I don't
Mhm.
think that these are the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Thunder they like to run too. They had per game 16 field goal attempts in transition per game, where the Clippers were 12
Yeah.
per game. It's going to be a very very different kind
Yeah,
of
and it's
matchup.
connected with turnovers. So if they are not able to force
Yeah.
turnovers, then maybe they will not able to run as much in transition. I do think that this is another place where Cason Wallace can be crucial.
Mhm.
Like Kaysen is a good on ball defender, and
Mhm.
those live ball turnovers make you think the next action. You really think about it. Same as Chetongren being a deterrent at the rim. That is also something that is extremely important to establish against Dallas because if Luca doesn't have the legs to beat Chetongren and he has to rely on his mid-range jumpers and threes, that is wonderful news. Can he beat you with that? Sure. Luca is one of the top 5 talents in this league by
Mm.
far. In terms of talent alone, He may even be higher, maybe top 3. He is gifted. Now, he is also not the top 3, maybe top 2 player in the league because of how he handles the game, I think, and himself. He can be much better than that, can be in better shape, can be many things. But he can still kill you for a series. He can have 10 games where he just is in another zone. And so is Kyrie. I mean, these two players can reach heights that are difficult to reach for OKC. But
Right.
OKC can reach a certain level of greatness, shared greatness, that the Dallas cannot match.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be the Dallas has number 1 and number 2 player of the series individually, but OKC wins anyway because they really can be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see. It's scary, but again, if they really can control the pain and force turnovers, then they are, I mean, slightly favorite. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually think that I didn't see the lines, the spread. What is it? I think that they should be slightly favorite for the series.
Yeah, I think they are. Let me see if I can find what the current odds are. Yeah, they are minus 122 to win the series.
Yeah.
So slight favorites to
Yeah.
win the series. What are the things that, if say the Thunder lose this series, what are the things that you think that the Mavs need to do in order to beat OKC?
They will need to control the paint. This is the team. They will need to go to an extreme level, not guard 1 or 2 OKC guys. Have luck that OKC struggle with shooting wise, but they have to lock the paint. And then they will have to be not careless with the ball. So ball security is number 2 for me. And number 3 is, you need to kill OKC on the board. Like kill. Otherwise, I don't think that if you don't do these 3 things, if OKC is okay getting at the rim, and they are forcing turnovers, I don't see any way in which they can win this game. Well, it can if Luka and Kyrie they both go, hey, let's never miss a shot, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But schematically, is I think that the paint thing is the most important, which they will go overboard to do that.
Yeah. That to me is also that's going to be huge. Is like how much can the Thunder get to the hoop in the against the Mavs, if it's something that they can do quite a bit with Shea and J-Dub and Giddey, like I think they're going to be in good shape, because that means like you have broken down the defense. Then you can now not only finish at the rim, but you can spray out, get good threes. I think that to me is going to be really important. Is like how much can you get into the paint? Like how often can they get into the paint? I think is going to be pretty crucial, because it's something they were able to do in round 1.
Yeah, I was thinking about another feat that I'm really curious to see if a guy like Giddey tries to put Kyrie on him and attack him off the dribble.
Mm-hmm.
He can do that. He can definitely do that. And I think that when you have Giddey driving, he is still the best passer on this team.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder how Dallas will react if they load the paint just to avoid Giddey getting downhill, or if they be a little bit more hesitant to just give Giddey a free passing lane to Dub or Chet.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that I want to see.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to be the most important role player for the Thunder?
So not the top 3.
Not the top 3.
I think it's still Dort.
Yeah. What about what about bench player? Let's say bench player. I think Lou's kind of a cop out. Like obviously this is like he's crazy important. Like he might be the. I mean, I think he's the fourth most important player. Like
Yeah.
every single game.
I think that if Kazan has a great series, it's more important than if Isaiah Joe has a great series.
Mm-hmm. Just
Like,
because of the defensive aspect.
yeah, I think that defense is crucial in this series, and I don't think that you can get by with Isaiah Joe. Well, I mean, it's difficult because if Isaiah Joe has a wild series from three, then sure, that also works.
Mm-hmm.
But let's put it this way: I would prefer having a steady version of Case Wallace compared to a normal version of Isaiah Joe. If I get like a great version of either, that works. But would you prefer having a Case Wallace that plays good defense and hit 2 of 6 from three, or having Isaiah Joe that hits 2 out of 5?
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of agree that Kaysen is going to be
Yeah, and
wildly important.
yeah, and there's a nice interaction with fan XMTV that says Isaiah Joe is good at defense. I know
Yeah, he's got
Kazan is another ballpark.
Yeah.
Kazan ball pressure is just different. And against Kyrie, you need to have a guy like that. You need to have a guy that really, really puts him in trouble, or at least can guard him, can stay with Kyrie. Joe is a serviceable defender that if you have Josh Green, you can trust Isaiah Joe that he will not mess up, and Josh Green will not cook him.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have Isaiah Joe on the court, I do think that both Luka and Kyrie will just target him and try to kill him, and most likely they will be okay, if not good, against Isaiah Joe. With Kaysen has a chance to really disrupt Kyrie. He did that in OKC in Game 4.
Yeah.
He really did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that he has probably he has a higher floor of the two, where you're at least going to get just maniacal defense from him. And I also just kind of trust him as an offensive player too. When he stepped in, when J-Dub was hurt for just that few minutes in New Orleans, he was really good. Not only he hit some shots, but he's also moving the ball. He's playing great defense. He's just it was just like, oh, he really kind of fits here.
Yeah.
And he's another guy that I think if Giddey can't go, it's not ideal to replace him size wise, but I think that you can put him in there and feel good defensively.
Yeah. Yeah, if Giddey can't go, I don't think that you have too many problems in fitting. You'll just have J-Dub guarding another tall guy and having Kazan on Kyrie and Luka on and then Dort and Luka. I don't think that it's hard at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What else in this series sticks out to you?
I don't know. I'm curious to see what kind of adjustments Kidd and Dignault will have. I mean, to me, in the Dallas series, it was more Dallas Clippers series. It was not a ton of adjustments, maybe some, but I didn't notice something very peculiar. I saw a team making a lot of basket on one game and not making them. I know that I'm simplifying a lot, but I mean, the Clippers generated a great amount of great shots in Game 6 and missed them all. Is that credit to the defense? Is that credit to, I don't know, adjustments? Possibly. But I mean, I really want to see how Dignault will coach the series, because I think that he has a great advantage on that end.
Yeah. I want to see what Mark's got up his sleeve for a playoff series where he's had some time to kind of figure some stuff out. They've had practice. They've had a lot of time off to kind of study both the Clippers and the Mavs, and then they got to really zero in on the Mavs afterwards. And I think it's really important. I think the coaching matchup is going to be huge, because I think star-wise, you look at Kyrie and Luka, and you could say like they probably have the two biggest like stars in this series. I think obviously Shea is up there as well. J-Dub is an emerging star. Chet is an emerging star. But we have seen what both Luka and Kyrie can do. Now, I think you mentioned this earlier, but I think that the Thunder have like the better roster, and I don't think anybody would really debate that. I think the Thunder are well equipped to handle. I think they have the pieces to handle Dallas. And I think they have the coach to put them in position to handle Dallas. And they also have health, which is huge in the playoffs, and they have rest, which is big time in the playoffs, because if they continue to advance, that rest is going to go away.
Yeah.
Every other day.
Unless
something crazy happens that I don't expect to happen. Okay, Michele, let's make our picks for the series.
For me, it's OKC in 6. Okay. I know that it's weird to have them winning in 6, but I do think that this is the most likely scenario. But I don't know why. I feel like Thunder in 6, and I don't know. Thunder in 6.
I also have Thunder in 6.
Okay.
They've been a good road
team. It sounds weird.
They've been a good road team all year.
Yeah.
I think that it's something that they can do on the road. And
I think the likeliest way in which Game 6 happened is that they split both home and road, and then OKC goes 2-0 in the final 2 games.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Thanks so much for listening. If you're in Oklahoma City or in Oklahoma in general, stay weather aware, stay safe. Apparently there's a tornado warning. My wife has wanted me to call her, so we got to get off the pod. You're going to be at the game tomorrow. Come find me. I have a few more Down to Dunk stickers. I will be out in front of the arena shooting trivia videos, so be sure to come find me. I would love to have you, or I'm going to do another one with kids as well. If you want your kid to be on a video, come find me outside the arena. I'll be on like the kind of east-ish side of the arena. It's kind of the best, the least like loud part of outside. So come find me. Really excited for this series to get started. I do think the Thunder are going to win this series. I think they're going to go to the Western Conference Finals. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. But I do think that this is the Thunder's time to kind of emerge. And so I'm looking forward to watching it, looking forward to being there. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and we will talk to you guys again on Wednesday.